Thank you, Clayton. Well, Tim Pawlenty is making his pitch as the top fiscal hawk in the Republican field. He says that as president, he will have his own budget plan, but it won't quite look like Congressman Paul Ryan's plan. Joining us is 2012 presidential candidate and former Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty. Governor, thanks for being here this morning and having a little barbecue to kick off the day.
It's nothing like a little coffee and barbecue to start your day, Molly. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You know, let's get right to it. We'll talk about Paul Ryan's budget plan. You say that if it came to your desk and your plan wasn't there, that you would sign his, but yours is a little different. Explain the difference.
It is. Well, Congressman Ryan, I give him credit for his leadership. Where's President Obama on this? I tweeted last night, I'm sorry to interrupt your European pub crawl, but where's President Obama's Medicare plan? And the answer is he doesn't have one. So at least Congressman Ryan's exerting the leadership to tackle one of the big challenges facing this country, the out-of-control debt and deficit. We've got an absent president on this issue, so I've given him credit for that. I'll have my own plan. It'll have some differences from Congressman Ryan's, but I applaud him for his leadership.
What are those differences?
Well, we're going to address Social Security, for one. I've been traveling the country as part of It's Time to Tell the Truth tour. So we're in Iowa talking about the need to phase out ethanol subsidies, which wasn't exactly a big applause line in Iowa. We were down in Florida to talk about the need to reform Social Security to seniors and others. And then we'll also be addressing Medicare like he did. But we'll be offering some options rather than having it be more of a one-size-fits-all system.
Former Vice President Dick Cheney had said that he worships the ground that Paul Ryan walks on. If Pawlenty got the Republican nod, would you ask him to be your running mate?
I wouldn't ask Dick Cheney to be my running mate, Molly.
No. Sorry. He said that Paul worships the ground Paul Ryan walks on. Would Paul Ryan possibly be your running mate?
Paul Ryan would be on everybody's list of leadership for the next generation for this country. He's bright, he's smart, he's courageous. We got a wonderful next group of people coming up to lead the country. And as to Dick Cheney, he's great too.
You know, the Medicare has been almost the word of the week. There's been a lot of talk of it. I just returned from New York's 26th congressional district where a Democrat beat the Republican, and that was a major focus of this contest. Are you concerned that Medicare could become a political weapon in elections versus seeing compromise in Washington and congressmen getting together, congressmen and women solving this problem?
Well, we have to solve the problem, but this New York special election is something that is a special election, so you can't just necessarily translate that result into a nationwide result. There was also a third-party candidate there who is trending center-right, so deflected some of the Republican vote, and that's a factor as well. But Medicare is a real issue, and we need real leaders to step forward and address it. Congressman Ryan is. I'll have my own plan, but you know who's missing? The President of the United States. And he needs to lead. He needs to lead this country, and he won't do it because he lacks the courage. I will have the courage to do it, and we'll lead. And we got to get this thing fixed. The country is sinking in debt.
Let's move on to a Gallup poll that recently came out. It showed that Mitt Romney and Sarah Palin were ahead of the game right now. 17%, 15%. Then Ron Paul, Newt Gingrich, Herman Cain at 8%. Yourself at 6%. Why is that? Is this a name recognition issue just early in the race?
Early on, these polls are just name ID. I think half the Republicans in the country don't even know who I am. So to put me in a poll where half the respondents don't even know my name, of course, you're not going to immediately change that. But as I get better known, I'm a new face to the scene. When they get to see my record in Minnesota of reducing spending, cutting taxes, doing market-based, not government-based health care reform and more, those numbers will change. And in fact, we've got good momentum already in Iowa and the early states.
And when you talk about the early states, these are places where you have to actually get out. You have to shake the hands of voters. And there's states that are kind of kingmakers. If you can convince the folks there to believe in you and vote for you, you could become known all around the country if you win in Iowa or come in close in New Hampshire, however things roll out. Is that really your hope and your plan?
Well, the early states are really important. So Iowa, of course, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Florida, and others. And if you can get a victory or success in those states, you'll get well known, and that brings you the momentum to move on. And that's what history shows. I mean, my goodness, if the early polls were the predictor of who's going to be the next president, we'd have President Giuliani or President Howard Dean. They are terrible predictors of who's actually going to win the nomination and who's actually going to win the race.
You know, the field is really shaping up right now. We're finally starting to see candidates officially announced. Mitt Romney expected in the upcoming week, as well as Michelle Bachmann coming in shortly, expected to make her big announcement. Is that a good thing to finally see everyone getting their names out there and saying, I am in, and starting a discussion?
Yeah, it's time, because then everybody, the potential supporters, donors, others can see the field, and they won't have to wonder whether other people are getting in or not. I welcome Mitt in. I welcome Michelle if she gets in. It'll be great. The more the merrier. It'll be a great debate, and I look forward to it. I think we're going to do very well.
You know, we're kicking off things, as we mentioned earlier today, a little barbecue, but it is Memorial Day weekend. You know, this is really a somber occasion as well. What's your message this Memorial Day weekend?
Well, our message is that we wouldn't have the country we have without the brave men and women who serve in our United States military, and of course they all have given so much and some have given all. And we need to stop and reflect this weekend, not just for barbecue, but to remember how great this country is and why it's great, and the thin line between what we have and what could get taken away from us. are those men and women who have served and continue to serve, and we owe them thanks, and we particularly remember the fallen on these Memorial Day weekend.
Governor Tim Pawlenty, candidate for the presidency, heading out in 2012 right now, out on the campaign trail. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been a pleasure, and have a great weekend.
You too.